Hey, how's it going, guys?
We're good, guys. Okay, we've got senior defensive end Ricky Eliifua. Ricky's one of three Aggies currently on the team that played against USC in 2013. Ricky will recap the Weber game, preview USC, and then we'll take some questions.
Okay, regarding the first game is a great indicator for two particular areas. The first area allows us to see how far we've come as a defense from spring ball on the first day of camp. And the second area is how far we need to go if we want to be one of the best defenses in the nation. And so in that sense, it was a breath of fresh air, but it was also pretty eye-opening as to, the kinds of things that we need to do. I felt that we came out strong, and, we were pretty relentless and pretty greedy as far as yards that we were allowing them to have. And then toward the end of the first half, we got a bit complacent, and that was something that it didn't sit well with us at all. And they scored off of a drive going into the half. And coming out of the half, we knew that we needed to finish a lot stronger than we finished the first half. And I think that's what we came into the second half with, that kind of mindset, making sure that we stay down and are on our jobs, and making sure that we don't allow them to have hope and make them feel that they can get back into this game. And then our offense came in and, they did what they did, and we put it away early. So it was nice. It was good fun, and excited for this upcoming week. As for the USC game coming up this week, their offense, big boys over there on the other side of the line. I think one of their offensive tackles is like 6'9", 350, 360 or something like that. So that's a huge body right there that we have to move. But, I mean, at this level, it really all comes down to technique and also, effort. And I feel like we're physical enough to play with the best in the nation, which includes USC. And so we're ready for those big boys. Their quarterback this is his first year starting. They have a couple guys that seem as if they're questionable. We went into last week thinking that they were going to have some other kinds of starters, and then when they played Alabama, they had a few other people in there that we didn't really anticipate. But nevertheless, we're ready for it. Their running backs are really good, and I think their receivers, they're going to be hard to cover. So a lot of respect for their offense and what they've done and what they're trying to do, at least for this year with their new head coach. But we're excited for the challenge that's ahead of us.
Did you watch the game on Saturday?
I did, yes. Yeah.
What did you learn from that? Just watching it by yourself?
Just watching it, I definitely feel that we have an opportunity to go in there and to win. And obviously, we always feel that way against any team. But seeing it firsthand, I think that there are some areas that we can possibly expose against their offense. I think when the team that you're about to play plays Alabama the week before, I think they definitely show their hand, as to, what they want to do, their game plans as far as the kind of team that they want to be, their identity. And I think they showed that a little bit or a lot. And so we're going to be able to watch a lot more film, and be able to see where we want to attack from and where we can really emphasize and focus on against their offense.
Do you believe that their feeling, though, is that they can get back to more of a running game, or they think they can against you rather than Alabama? Don't you feel like you'll see more of their running backs than we saw in the Alabama game because they got behind and all those things too?
I'm not sure what they're feeling. I hope they feel that way. As a defensive lineman, I really do hope that they feel that way, because I feel like that's our strength. That's what we focus on, so that's what our strength is. And Coach always talks about, you get what you emphasize, and we emphasize on stopping the run. And so I hope that they feel that they can run the ball, because then we'll be able to prove ourselves as a defense that, we can stop the run against the best in the nation.
Then you going back to the Weber game, you mentioned you thought that there was a recovery or a better second half from the defense. Was that a halftime of guys we can do better type of deal? Ricky, do you think there was a little bit of a letdown there in the second quarter?
I think it was. I think we saw our offense really moving the ball really well against them, and you've seen those 3 early touchdowns from Devontae Mays. And we just felt that it didn't matter what we did. Our offense is going to score, and that's a horrible mindset. At least that's what it felt like to me. Our defense was getting kind of lazy as far as responsibilities. And so I think that's all it was, is just listen, we're better than that, and we need to prove that to ourselves. And so that's what we did, and at halftime we made sure that we got together and said, hey, we need to buckle down and finish this the right way, and that's what we did.
When you looked at film of the defensive front, the guys who played, what did you guys in your room decide? Did you get some younger guys play well? Were you surprised at how some guys played? What?
Like I said, yeah, it's a great thing to see, how far we've come, from the beginning of this year to, and also how much further we still need to go. And so there's things that we all need to clean up. Some people have bad eyes. Some people need to work on their technique a little bit more. And this week will be a big week for us to focus on those things and get into the things that we really need to get better at. And hopefully Saturday it'll show up.
Ricky, you played in the Coliseum back in 2013. What do you tell the guys who haven't been there? What do you tell them to prepare them for an atmosphere like that?
I kind of just walk them through my experience. Being from California, USC was it was the school that I wanted to go to. Obviously, I didn't go there. They showed no interest, and that's okay with me. But it's I just try and tell them, listen, it's going to be an atmosphere like you've never played in before, especially guys that haven't played in big coliseums or haven't played very much at all until this past game. And so I just try and relay to them that this is going to be an environment that is electrifying. It's amazing, but, there's going to be more people that are going against us than for us. We'll have a very small fan base, and we have to make sure that we create our own energy and keep building off of that, and don't let that crowd and that environment affect the way that you play from a negative aspect. Make sure that you stay tuned in and be in the moment. Definitely take it in, because not a lot of people can say that they've been to the Coliseum and played there, but also never lose sight of what we came to do, which is to play a football game and to win it.
How big were you coming out of high school when you wanted them to recruit you?
Like big, like physically?
Yeah.
Well, I was the same height I am now, but I was maybe 30, 40 pounds lighter. So.
Just anything specific that you remember about that game? It was kind of, I think in the end, it was kind of a frustrating game for everybody at Utah State, because you felt like you could have made 1 or 2 plays, made one side of the ball or other, might have made a difference in the game, too.
Yeah, we, especially that year, going into that year, the few years before that, there were always close games against, big opponents. And we're tired of coming close. We really are. We want to be able to finish games and finish teams. And, sometimes it comes down to 1 or 2 plays in the fourth quarter. But Coach always tells us that, that's all we need. We need a chance to win in the fourth quarter and make a few plays, and we'll be out and we'll come out victorious. And so, in that first game, I just remember I almost remember just being a fan, to be honest. And that's why I'm trying to share these experiences with these younger guys, because it was okay for me at that time to just be there and to be playing at USC on the field. And to be quite honest, me personally, this time I'm coming for blood. I know exactly what it's like to play in the Coliseum. This is not my first time. And I'm much more, older and mature, and I'm ready for this. And this is what I've been waiting for. This is what I've trained for. This is what all of us have trained for in the offseason, is to play in big games like this and perform at a high level, and to execute and to win. Anything else? Thanks, guys.
Recap the Weber game, preview USC's defense, and then we'll take some questions.
Yep. So, obviously, leaving up, with Weber, we played really well offensively. We ran the ball really, like we wanted to. That was the goal going in, is run the football, and so I think we did that and had a lot of success. So we obviously didn't need to throw it that much, but we still got some things to clean up on the offensive side of things, and we'll do that this week. As most people say, you make your biggest improvements from week 1 to week 2, and we definitely have to have that this week against the team that we're going against, and and USC is going to be very, very talented up front. Across the board on defense, they're very talented, and so I think it's going to be a challenge for us to, you know, to go in there and play at the Coliseum.
Did this guy play for Utah against you last year?
Yeah, he did.
Against you, he did.
Yeah, so they have a transfer from the University of Utah. He's their starting defensive lineman now over there.
What do you remember of going against him then, or did you?
Yeah, he played last year. He rotated with that front down there in Salt Lake, and that they were one of the better Pac-12 fronts that you see last year. And so, I mean, I think he's very talented. He's a load. I mean, you look at him, he's 6'1", I think 320 is his size, and I mean, that's a big boy. He's stout. I mean, I think he does a lot of good things, but there's also, you know, we'll just see what we can do.
Austin, I mean, how much pride can you take as an offensive line? You guys are tied with New Mexico for first in the nation in rushing yards right now. How much pride do you take?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's a great deal, but at the same time, that's week one, and we have to do it. We have to do it week in and week out. I mean, we can't just be satisfied with, you know, being after one game, being ranked first in the nation. I mean, for us, we want to be, you know, in the top 20, top 15, at least rushing the ball as the season goes along. So we got to be able to do that week in and week out, and we have to be consistent with it. We can't have spurts. And we can't have, you know, because I think the core of this offense this year, it can be to run the football, and so we got to do that week in and week out.
Did anybody other than the starting five play in the game? Anybody else get in?
Yeah, we had our twos got in, and they did a nice.
You know, when the game was any like in the first half or
No, it was just the five that started is who we got through.
How did you like the way the five of you played that when you went back?
You know, obviously.
They always say five after plays one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we did that. I think we did a nice job of doing that. You know, going back and watching the film, you got to clean some things up. We got to clean some communication things, and that starts with me, you know, just communicating better across the board. But, I mean, we just got to clean some things up and continue to get better. Technique-wise, we got to be really good this week. I mean, if we're not good technique-wise, then we're not going to have a lot of success. And that's just the way it is because, you know, USC's that talented to do that. So we got to clean some things up. I mean, offensive line play, a lot of people don't realize you're never going to be perfect. So, I mean, none of us were perfect on Saturday or Thursday night against Weber, and so we watched the game film on Friday, and we'll clean those things up this week and continue to just fix the things that we need to fix each week.
What was your general overall impressions of USC? Not just defensive front, but their whole defense. It looks like to me, I mean, obviously, even though Alabama got a bunch of it, they can run. I mean, it's amazing how quickly they got the ball on offense.
Yeah, I mean, they're talented. I mean, you look at the, you know, from top to bottom, the guys that they recruit and the guys that they bring in, I mean, 4 or 5 stars, and so obviously they're going to be able to play some football. But, I mean, I think as a defense, you know, that game was a little blown out of proportion a little bit. They gave up a play here or play there where it kind of hurt them, or they had, you know, maybe a miscue here or there. So I think that it's a little skewed, but I think that as a defense as a whole, they're very, very talented and they're very good. Like you said, they run to the football and they play hard. You know, they're just talented.
You still had, I think, 3 sacks in the game against Alabama too.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, they did throw some pressures out there for us, and we'll watch those as the week goes on and try and figure those things out. But I mean, I think, you know, it's kind of like Utah last year with a good front seven. You don't need to blitz that much, and they got 4 dudes that can rush the passer, and they're talented and they're quick. So we gotta, you know, we're gonna have to do some things for that, and I think we're up for the challenge up front.
In the course of a game of 70 snaps or something like that, how many times will there be guard, center, double teams? Is that a routine thing?
Yeah.
Times a game?
Yeah, I mean, throughout the game you get them. I mean, it just depends on the defense and what we're going against each week. I mean, it just kind of depends on, it just is going to be where, the scheme of the run and what we're doing. I mean, it just all depends on, their front, how they're playing, what we can attack as maybe a vulnerable spot for us or for them. Just all
I
depends.
guess I asked that because having Jake there, you didn't have that before. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I still had guys in there that could move people with me. Tony Fisela did a nice job with that. I mean, Austin Albrecht when he was in there at guard. So I mean, I've had guys in there that could, that just could maul people too. So I mean, for me, it's nothing new. I mean, I guess is kind of what you're asking, but I mean, for me, it's just the same old same each week.
What was it like having Jake next door to you in a game? Was that different for a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit, but I think, now that we've had a few snaps under our belts throughout camp and stuff, it wasn't anything, different for me. I just go about the same as I would. It doesn't really affect me who's next to me. I just, we all want to play as one, like you said, and so that's our goal.
Austin, granted it was Alabama, but I mean they rushed for I want to say 242 yards against USC. So how encouraging was it to see that they gave up chunk yardage plays?
Yeah, I think obviously that's encouraging to see for us because we like to run the football, but we know that USC is going to focus on that this week, and they're probably just like our defense, where defenses don't want to be ran on, and so they're going to have an emphasis on stopping the run, and so it just poses another challenge for us and it just goes back to being consistent. We got to be able to run the football, and so for us, being consistent with that and being able to run the football is going to be a challenge.
Anything else for Austin?
Thanks, guys.
We got head coach Matt Wells. We'll recap the Weber State game, preview USC, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. How's everybody doing? Good. Huh?
Like I said, lovely.
Okay, what am I supposed to do first? Jason, you threw me off right there, man. Well, just in recapping the tape from the Weber State game, that was good effort by our players. Glad that the result was what it was. There's a lot of things to clean up. There is communication, some technique stuff up front, O-line, D-line, tight ends, those kind of guys that if we don't get cleaned up in a hurry, then we'll be exposed in a major way this week. And that's not a secret to our players. I told them that all weekend. Things on offense get exposed into negative yardage runs against a team like SC. Things on defense get exposed into touchdowns against a team like SC. And so those are things that we need to clean up. But, in saying that, I'm very proud of the way we ran the ball, our offensive line, our tight ends, our running backs, wide outs out on the perimeter. And I thought we did a really good job with that because I think a lot of Weber State and I think a lot of that program, and I think they're going to be a really good Big Sky team. I really do. And then defensively, question I got asked the last couple of days a little bit about our linebackers. Still, it's only one game and a small sample size. We'll see as we get into Mountain West play. But I thought it was a good start by those guys, but still a lot of things to get better at in terms of our linebacker play and communication and matching up personnel and where do I fit on pressures and as soon as they motion, all this kind of stuff that goes into playing linebacker and communicating. So that's a little bit of my recap. I thought Brock made a nice field goal, 6 of 6 on PATs, and in the field goal that was good. Wasn't real happy with our kickoff coverage. That's not that'll be a big point of emphasis this week. especially going against the best kickoff return in the country, and a guy special. Anyway, so we better figure it out real quick, or it'll look like a pinball game. You know what that looks like, Craig? A pinball machine. You hit it up and it goes slamming right back at you. Yeah, and then you go.
Anyway, the guy, number 13 for Weber State, was the best they had in that league, and you just kicked it over his head a lot of the time.
Well, yeah, and the wind had something to do with that. And that wind, big conditions. We're nitpicky. I mean, the way we covered kicks was not Utah State kickoff coverage team, and we're going to get that corrected real quick by coaching it a little bit more detailed and better, and by changing some personnel. So I brought some old archive tapes out of the kickoff coverage, how we kick off around here and cover kicks, and so hopefully they got the picture Saturday afternoon. So
When you have a special teams coach like you have now,
yeah.
Is there maybe one more or two more periods in your practice that you do
No.
with special teams than you've done before?
No, because I think the time that we allot for special teams here in terms of meetings and in terms of on the field, I think we do a lot. We get a lot of special teams time here, and we do it with staff, we do it with the players' meetings, and we do it on the field. Just because we have a full-time special teams coordinator doesn't mean we do more of it, because it's just, it goes into your minutes and how long you're on the field and all that. I think we put a big emphasis on it. Hopefully we're putting a more detailed emphasis on it in terms of our preparation and our meeting time and all that. And I think so. Stacy Collins is really good.
Well, isn't this Baxter guy there supposedly kind of like the guy everybody shoots for? I mean, he went to Michigan. He's been all over.
John Baxter, yeah. John Baxter is one of the best special teams coaches in America, if not the best. A lot of respect for Coach Baxter. I've known him for a while. We've gone against him, obviously at SC, in 13, and when he was at Fresno, and tremendous reputation in our business and our profession. Stacy Collins would tell you the same thing. We have a tremendous amount of respect for him, for his schemes, how sound they are, the fundamentals that they play with in teams, and then his aggressiveness, in terms of blocking punts and the aggressiveness that they have in all their schemes. We have a lot of respect for him, and it'll be a tremendous challenge for our kids in terms of special teams.
You were talking about Jackson, the kickoff returner. They have a receiver, Smith-Schuster guy, who's ranked 13th all time in receiving yards. If you're top 15 in USC in receiving yards, you're probably a special player. How wary do you need to be of him?
We need to be aware of both of them. We need to, they've got a slot receiver too that can hit a home run on a reverse, number 7. The two corners, 8 and 2, are special, I think. The both wideouts have the ability they're big, they can body you up. They've got a really athletic tight end, and he can run in space, and it looks like what a real tight end looks like. And they've got those weapons at tight end and receiver that you're talking about. They can go up and high point balls and put their body on you, and they're explosive. Juju, after the catch, is physical, really physical. It's almost like a running back after the catch, and those guys can, you don't gang tackle, you don't wrap them up right out of the gate. It could be a long night or afternoon, or morning. And like I said, they can expose mistakes really quick into touchdowns.
You played against Lee when you went there before,
Who?
receiver, but Schuster's
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah.
And so you got that more of that. You're talking about more of the power stuff when he.
Yeah,
kicks the
these
ball.
two wideouts are different than Marquise Lee. Marquise Lee was, he was slighter than them, but twitchy and fast, and that obviously he's a great wideout. And but these guys are bigger, and they'll body you up and be really, really physical, especially in the red zone.
When you think back to that game, now 3 seasons ago, yes,
Yeah.
There still has to be some frustration coming out of that game, how you played and how close you came, but it wasn't to be.
You know, Al, honestly, and I'll say this, not frustration, but a missed opportunity. You know, there's no frustration. I'm not frustrated 3 years later after that game. I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember many things about it in pregame and during the game. You know, I remember how well we played on defense. I remember us, you know, gang tackling and running to the ball. And I remember having to block Leonard Williams. Thank goodness we don't have to block him. But I'm telling you, Stevie at the nose is a load, and he is. We know all about him, and I have a lot of respect for that young man. You know, I remember those things, and you get to a fourth quarter, and you had a chance to win. You had a chance to tie. And that's what we want. That's what we want this year. We want a chance to get it to the fourth quarter and be able to go make some plays. I'm not frustrated by any means about it. You just know that, you know, you had an opportunity to do something that's not been done there in a long time. If I'm not mistaken, they haven't lost to a group of 5 team since my senior year in high school, 1991, Mr. Hunter. So that would be the fall of 91, and I think it was Memphis State. So, I mean, to have a chance to win in the fourth quarter is what you want. But to do that, you have to start fast. You have to play well in all 3 phases. You have to minimize your mistakes because your mistakes in this kind of game will get magnified real quick.
Their best defensive player in the game, at least watching it, was the kid from Utah, this Gustin.
Porter Gustin, you know, I think the last time I saw him, he was in my office January of his junior year, and we were the first offer for him, and then he blew up that spring and that summer, very, very well deserved. Tremendous young man, great family. It's not neat to, I guess it is neat to watch him because he's a Utah kid and we recruited him. The guy plays hard, unbelievably hard, fanatical effort. Turns and chases the ball down the line. He knows angles, can rush the passer. He's long. He's gained weight. I guess that's what happens when you don't play basketball and pitch anymore. You gain weight. You get an real off-season program that he's huge and kind of what you thought he would maybe look like. And he's very similar to a kid like Kyler Fackrell. You know, yeah, you better be aware of him.
What do you expect to see a quarterback, and how do you prepare for that situation?
For them, well, I mean, you prepare for a system. You prepare for what they've shown over the years. Clay Helton, in my opinion, does a great job with quarterbacks in preparing them. I think they're smart. I think they're sound. They're good decision makers. Those two are big and strong. I tell you what they do is better than you think they do is they run better than you think. They are very much have the ability to escape and make you pay, maybe not home run, but make you pay with first downs and moving the chains. Those guys, they can move. They're big and strong, but they're both very athletic. And so, you know, who plays, you know, our defense will prepare and our players will prepare and see both of them on tape. But you're preparing for a system.
Well, they kind of took Brown out, but they brought him back in after
Right.
the game, so it still looks like they probably want us to put him in, right?
We'll see.
Have you
Yep.
done earlier kickoff than 11 a.m.?
11 a.m. is an early, you know, I think back to the Auburn was a maybe 11:30 was a very early kickoff.
10 Logan time, I think it was, so it's probably 11 back there.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, 11. I'm not sure you can really go. I mean, I don't know the NCAA rules, but can you go earlier than 11 local time? Yeah, we've had a couple, but not very many.
You do anything different to get you guys worked up?
We won't. We're already an early morning team. I got asked that question this morning on the radio. It's a great question. We're already an early morning team. We do things early in the morning in spring and summer in terms of practicing. We meet. I mean, our guys were in here this morning at 6:30 meeting. We'll meet tomorrow at 6:30, but that's our normal schedule. You know, pregame's going to be a little different. You know, it's pregame meal at 7:30. We'll wake up at 6:30. We'll walk through and go eat pregame at 7:30 and get them up, get them rolling. But I think, our kids will be fine because we wake up and make them alert and make them – I mean, we have spring and training camp practices early in the morning, and we have these meetings. And so their body clocks will be just fine. Ours will be.
You're
So.
better off sometimes on the road of just getting up and playing rather than laying around and watching games.
Al, if I was the commissioner of college football, unless you were on one of the major networks, I think every game should be at noon or 1 o'clock, and let's rock and roll and play. So yeah, you don't want to sit around the hotel, but TV dictates so much these days, and we're happy to play on TV. And
How about Wyoming's game the other night?
I did not watch it.
You didn't?
No, I started watching it and then I couldn't stay awake, and I think Coach Bonite woke back up and watched his alma mater. So I'm sure that he's a proud alumni. Yeah, that was a great win for the Mountain West. A great win for Wyoming. Yeah.
It's got 8 wins in 11 games, I guess.
Yeah. I said it during media days in Vegas. Wyoming's better, and very, very, very well coached football team, and that doesn't surprise me. It's a good win for them.
I just got to ask you, Coach. USC's not accustomed to losing like they did on Saturday. How much are you kind of expecting a kind of a caged, wounded animal?
Shoot, I don't know. I mean, SC, I think answering that question could maybe, I don't know the right answer to that, Jason. That's a great question, but I mean, whether they had won or lost, in my opinion, in the Coliseum for their home opener, we're going to get their best shot. I got to worry more about Utah State and our frame of mind and our readiness and ability to wake up early and go play in the Coliseum and make sure we're prepared to give our best effort. And I think we will. I think our kids will be ready to play. What else? Anything else? Good. Chase, you got anything today? Okay.
He's got bright colored shorts on.
Yeah, he does.
Holy cow, about
Craig, you good?
woke me up.
Okay, bud. All right.